So without further ado, let's get started. This is week 2. Week 2 is all about finding your inspiration. Without inspiration, we kind of just wander along. So let's look at what week 2 is about. Relating the concept of inspiration with mastery. If you're not inspired, you're probably not going to master much. And we're going to correlate the presentation by Dr. Randy Pausch, the last lecture, with Robert Greene's book. The textbook reading this week is Mastery Chapter 5, Awaken the Dimensional Mind, the Creative Active. And I'm only going to play a short clip of this video because I was watching it and I absolutely loved it. So let me get to the part that I wanted you to see.
No more excuses. Good money with it. And waking up every day, being able to do whatever it is you want, will only make you happy if you've got a purpose. What's your positive is the last thing anybody wants to do. Following your heart will be an emotional roller coaster, and the one and only essential thing that will make you push through the hardships that you will definitely live through is true and genuine passion for what you do. While reading through Mastery, I made a bunch of notes that I compiled into the next 20 lessons. I know it's a long video, but stick with me here. I'm convinced you'll find it helpful, and if not, I congratulate you, for you must have already mastered everything. Know thyself. What kind of vocation or career do you feel drawn to as an individual? You absolutely have to figure that out. What's your why? What are you passionate about? Seek out mentors and commit to apprenticeships in which you'll undergo years of humble observation, skill acquisition, and making your own reference experiences, instead of basing all your knowledge on theoretical studies. Revert to a feeling of deep humility and open-mindedness, eager to learn from everyone. Cross the threshold past the initial fatiguing stages of learning. Embrace resistance and pain. Dismiss of limiting comfort and false sense of security latching onto what's familiar. Once you've completed your apprenticeship, make a shift. Take bold, self-secure actions and apply your skills, connecting new ideas and letting your own creativity free. Learn to handle criticism and failure. Be grateful for the chance to grow and improve through your mistakes. The main separation of true masters to others is not an intellectual, but an emotional component. To quote Eric Thomas, "In school there were guys way smarter than me. Most of them aren't doing what I'm doing. Why? Because you gotta have heart. You gotta have heart, alright? Social intelligence is key to your way to the top. Your ability to emphasize with people, see and understand their perspective will prove most valuable. Again, you gotta have heart. Not just for what you do, but for yourself and other people. We tend to be judgmental, idealize, or even demonize people. Chances are you might not understand something they do. Be a neutral observer when learning. Don't project your own thoughts, emotions, and insecurities onto others. At the same time, people will do that to you. They could hinder your progress through their envy, conformism, rigidity, narcissism, laziness, irresponsibility, and passive aggression. Learn to dodge those vices like the potentially deadly bullets they are. Acta non verba. Speak through your accomplishments. Your point is proven and you can't be sabotaged. Almost nothing good comes from talking about your future projects to people who don't have the same values, the same worldview as you do. Your ego will get in the way from time to time. It's important to know that you're not your thoughts. Your actions matter most. Hence, try to distance yourself emotionally from your ego. See yourself through the lens of others and work on your flaws and shortcomings. And don't take criticism personally from people who don't know what they're talking about. When criticizing someone, choose your words carefully, make it constructive, and talk like an expert only on subjects you're familiar with. Remember how energetic and full of life you were as a child? The sense of wonder and endless curiosity about everything. Relearn to see the world through that lens. It will stimulate your creativity like nothing else. Dispel all your preconceived notions about the world. Dismissing of all limiting beliefs and releasing your imagination will prove powerful beyond measure. Be as fluid as water and think outside the box. Change is good, unconventional approaches are what starts innovation. Having unpopular beliefs is a sign you're onto something. To quote Mark Twain, whenever you find yourself on the side of the majority, it is time to pause and reflect. Learn to challenge and question popular ideas. Learning is a gift on its own. Soon enough, you'll be connecting a wide array of ideas from different fields of study and disciplines, coming to conclusions on universal truths. Take Josh Waitzkin, for example. Once he mastered the chessboard, he was able to transfer what he learned onto his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and master the sport within a much shorter period of time. Again, what's your why? You have to visualize, write down, and repeat what you're living for. What's your purpose? What's your destiny? Feel consciously connected to it, and you won't be able to wait to get up in the morning. See what new challenges you'll face while pursuing your dreams. Picture success as a heavy rooftop, and the pillars to support it are self-discipline, passion, persistence, concentration, sweat, self-reliance, observance, confidence, self-trust, commitment, modesty, formlessness, fearlessness, and open-mindedness. And there's also ways to make that rooftop lighter by dismissing of hindrances such as complacency, conservatism, helplessness, impatience, grandiosity, inflexibility, distractions, egotism, and overall negativity. In closing, I wholeheartedly recommend reading the book yourself. No amount of animated videos will be able to serve as a substitute for it, or the other books for that matter. It's probably one of the most important ones you'll ever read. If you haven't realized by now, Robert Greene is one of the best authors living today. I guess there's no saving you. I'm joking, of course. But then again, every good joke has a little bit of truth to it. As always, thanks for watching. And subscribe for more supplementary animated video book summaries, which will...
I hope you enjoyed that little clip. I just happened upon it by accident, and I love those 20 rules for mastery because I wholeheartedly believe in them myself. Not because I'm a master, but because I have made mistakes with every one of those 20 and probably will continue to do so. So I hope you enjoy that. And you'll be getting a PDF of this presentation as well as the video. So if you ever want to go back and click on that, you can. So let's talk about mastery. Let's talk about what Robert Greene has to say about the emotional pitfalls involved in mastery, because we're human beings. As human beings, we're subject to the human condition. We all are. So, according to Robert Greene, the greatest danger here is boredom, impatience, fear, and confusion. Once we stop observing and learning, the process towards mastery comes to a halt. But if we manage these emotions and keep pushing forward, we start to gain fluency and we master the basic skills, allowing us to take on bigger and better challenges. I absolutely love that quote. It was out of the chapter 5 readings. I believe that. I have 4 degrees myself and getting ready to start another master at Full Sail in gaming. So without even knowing it, I believed in the once we stop observing and learning, the process comes to a halt because I do get bored and lethargic when I'm not learning. So the emotional pitfalls to mastery are complacency, when we just blah blah blah, conservatism, when we don't take risks, we're afraid to try something new, dependency, impatience. If we're impatient about our journey or our promotions or our raises, that's an emotional pitfall to mastery. Grandiosity. Grandiosity is feeling like you're already there, feeling like you're better than everyone else, feeling like you don't need to go through the steps of the master journey because you already know these things. That's grandiosity. And inflexibility, unwilling to look at another perspective, another viewpoint, try something new. That's emotional pitfalls to mastery. One thing I have mastered is I have made every one of those mistakes. So I'm working on this right along with you. I believe it's a lifelong journey. Now, for me, what I get out of it, I put this together, is embrace the creative active mind. That's actually the chapter 5. My summary of that is be bold, creative, and experiment with your skills as you emerge from apprenticeship. What he means by apprenticeship is this graduate degree program. That's what we're talking about with Robert Greene's apprenticeship. Experiment with your new skills as you go. If you don't, it's like any other skill. I took Spanish in high school, never experimented with it, and can't speak a word of it now. So we do need to experiment with the skills as we learn them. Avoid complacency and being bored. Examine problems from all angles and continue to expand your knowledge. As you approach mastery, as you approach the end of your graduate journey, whatever that takes you to, transcend, go beyond the rules and limiting duality that defines much of the reality around us. It can be negative, it can hamper us. Embrace originality and the chaos around us. Let's make something wonderful out of it. Do so without embracing the romantic cultural myths around creativity. There's a lot of lifelong myths about being creative. Oh, you'll never get a job in the music industry, in the entertainment, in the gaming. I mean, there's so many myths around being creative. Creativity demands mastery, and there are no shortcuts. The strategies for mastery are: have the patience to master the basics. They are the foundation of your unique authenticity. You don't have the basics, you don't have a strong foundation to build upon. Go after great opportunities instead of fixating on great goals. Find them by reading and thinking outside of your field. Get hands-on with anything you create or design. Evolve and iterate it slowly, over and over until it is awesome. Start creative projects with an open mind. Feed them knowledge in and beyond your field. Tinker constantly and embrace the slowness. Transcend outdated norms by looking inward first, then using your expertise and discipline to express something in an original way. Break repeatedly free of the detail by making mastery a means to a greater end, a big picture idea, or inspiring goal. Remain open and adaptable to new, unexpected ways of looking at things. Creativity and adaptability are inseparable. Be wary of abstract simplifications. Reframe from many angles to get closer to the complex details of reality. Explore and embrace unconscious and contradictory parts of your personality and in the world at large. I'm in my 50s and I've just had to learn myself to reflect on my personality traits, the good, the bad, and what I can use and what I need to bury deep down. The required learning activities for this week are the week 2 discussion on inspiration. The initial post is due Wednesday, which is tonight. The response post due Sunday. Your blog that you're going to start creating in WordPress for your mastery journal is due Sunday. And a week 2 assignment research paper is due on Sunday. And if you've looked at your announcements, there's a short 2-minute video on the course at a glance for the week. What I try to do early on in a graduate program, because these are short, intense, compressed 4-week courses, I try to break all of the requirements down into the 7 days so that anyone that has trouble organizing their schedule can look at the schedule and see if it fits for them and adjust it. For those that aren't in my particular section, let's play this. Why didn't y'all tell me I was in the editing? See what I mean about getting complacent? I did it right there. right, that's the course at a glance for the week. Any of you that may not be in my particular section, my information will be on this. If you want to just shoot me a quick message, I'll make sure you get a copy of the week at a glance as well. Now let's talk about the assignments a little bit. The discussion, the initial post is due Wednesday tonight. You'll be watching the video called The Last Lecture by Randy Pausch. It's a tearjerker for me. And you'll read chapter 5 from the textbook, and then in 2 to 4 paragraphs, cite, that means citations in text, 3 concepts from the reading that reflect on the point made in the video and explain why you chose those concepts. So pick 3 concepts from the reading and something that it explains in the video and why you think you chose those, why that resonated with you. And also describe how your understanding of these concepts can inspire your mastery journey. Again, APA formatting is required. Note, the initial post must be a minimum of 2 to 4 paragraphs, and a paragraph to be an official paragraph is at least 3 sentences. Make sure your paper is APA formatted. So what you'll do is you'll submit by attachment your APA formatted paper, and you can copy and paste the actual paper into the discussion because it won't maintain its formatting, and that's perfectly okay, but the paper that you attach will have the formatting. Now, right here, I want you to pay close attention. The title attachments, anything that you submit by attachment, please name it by this naming convention. Last name, underscore, first name, underscore, and the name of the assignment. The reason is when we're downloading all of these assignments and putting them in this course and week 1 or week 2, if we don't have the last names, we don't know who the paper belongs to until maybe it's obvious when we open, maybe not. But if I'm trying to go back to one of your assignments or a particular student's assignment, if it's not named like this, it's really hard for us to find them. And here's an example for me, Billman underscore Vicky underscore week 1 discussion board initial post. That's just a quick example. And then again, the paper can be copied and pasted into the discussion form. It won't maintain its formatting, and that is perfectly okay. Now, let's look at the reply post. The instructions for the reply post, due Sunday. Pick a classmate who maybe has not yet received a response from one of you when you are returning to the board. Provide a perspective related to the classmate's post that specifically references a key point from the video or the reading. Be thorough. It doesn't have to be long, but be thorough and do relate it to one of the concepts. Possibly find a new video that is meant to further inspire and motivate and share it with the class. And in a paragraph, explain why you chose the video. Why is it inspirational? How can the ideas presented in the video be applied to the mastery journal? Again, in the response, APA formatting is still required. All right, now, make sure that in all your discussion responses that we use the RISE model. Full Sail and many academic institutions have adopted the RISE model. It's very efficient. It flows. I like it. I use it sometimes even in my grading. Your reply post should be composed of 4 sentences or paragraphs corresponding to the 4 elements of the RISE model. So in your APA paper, you will have a heading under Reflect, a heading of Inquire, a heading of Suggest, and a heading of Elevate. Under the heading, you will then respond to your classmate, reflect, to recall, ponder, and communicate, inquire, to seek information, question, ask your classmate a question. Did you ever think of looking at it from this viewpoint? Things like that. So be sure to use the headings. Now, APA formatting is very, very important. I've had questioning from students asking why we use APA formatting in a creative institution. Well, we do have business programs as well. The main reason is it is a standard for academic institutions nationwide. Businesses, industries, teachers, everybody expects to see white papers in this format. So it's one of those things that we were talking about earlier. Don't fight it. This is one of the basics that we have to learn to build our foundation on. So let's take a look. Just a quick demonstration of APA. Hello, it's Dr. Vicky here. I hope this finds you well. We're going to be taking just a few moments and talking about APA formatting. There's a lot of influence in APA formatting, and you're going to see most of your professors requiring it because it's part of the graduate program here at Full Sail. We're going to be talking about APA formatting for the title page, abstract, body, conclusion, and the references page. You ready? Let's go. When we're talking about the title page, don't underestimate the importance of the title page. Why? It's the first part of your writing or your report or your proposal that your audience is going to see. So pay special attention to your title page. It may be the first or only thing they see. APA requires a running head. It is in the header part of the paper, and it is capitalized and spelled exactly as you see. Near the center of the paper is the full title of your paper, Times New Roman, 12-point font throughout the paper, your name, first, middle initial, and last, and your school or institution or company name. Again, everything is double spaced, Times New Roman, 12-point font. Let's look at the abstract. The abstract is not necessarily a requirement at this point. Some courses may require it, some not. It's optional for me, but make sure that you know from your professor whether an abstract is required. Again, there is the running head. After the title page, the running head on every page is a shortened title in all caps. The word abstract is centered and it is not bold. The body, as you will notice, is not indented. The first line of the paragraph is not indented. It's one of the very few places in APA formatting where that is the case, only in the abstract. But keywords, you indent the keywords and any keywords or initials that you want to draw to the attention of your audience. Again, Times New Roman, 12-point font, double spacing everywhere. Let's go on to the next page. The next page is basically the first full complete page of your paper. The shortened title in all caps, again, is the running head. The full title of the paper, centered, not bold, centered and not bold. Indent the first line of each paragraph. As you can see, everything is consistently double spaced before and after every heading, sentence, and paragraph. When you see a heading that's centered, it's usually indicating that there's several very specifically different topics. You may or may not have a need for that. You will when it gets to your capstone. There's a heading, participants, bolded, Times New Roman 12-point font. The first line of the paragraph indented. As you can see, everything is clearly, consistently double spaced before and after every heading, paragraph, and sentence. Times New Roman 12-point font. There's a heading. Again, the first line indented. And it will continue on this way throughout your paper, whether you have one page or 1,000 pages. The next page will either be a continuation of your paper in the same manner, or it will end with a conclusion when you get to that point. There's your shortened title as your running head. If you want to include a conclusion, I would suggest that you get used to using conclusions. Most organizations like conclusions where you summarize what you just discussed. If you use a conclusion, again, it is a heading, it is centered, and it is bold. And the first sentence of every paragraph is indented. Next is the reference page. And yes, it is on a separate page. The references page is on a separate page. Do not include it with the other information. There's your running head again. The word references is centered, but it is not bold. Centered, but not bold. Times New Roman, 12-point font. Everything is double-spaced consistently, as you can see. The second line of every reference is indented. The second line, third line, and however many lines there are. The first line is not indented. The second and subsequent line of every reference is indented. Times New Roman, 12-point font, double spacing. In conclusion, we've talked about the reference page, the conclusions, the body, the abstract, and the title page. We've laid out your presentation. So why do we use APA format? It allows readers to cross-reference your sources easily. What that means is when people are reading for fact versus entertainment, they want to be able to verify the information as indeed factual. So your references and sources need to be there, and they need to be listed in the manner in which people are used to seeing them, which is APA format, so that they can verify the information. APA provides consistent format within a discipline. The people in our industry and in academia expect to see APA format. They know what it looks like, and they know where to look for in each category, in each section, under each heading to get the information they're looking for. They're expecting to see it in this format, so you need to give them what they're expecting. And it gives you credibility as a writer. What that means is if someone is expecting a paper or a proposal in this format and they do not get it in this format, they may think that your information is not credible. It may appear that you're not as knowledgeable as they would hope you were. So the easiest thing we can do when we're communicating is learn how to communicate in the manner in which the industry we're in expects it. And it protects you and others from plagiarism. Why is this so important? I'm just going to be totally honest with you. I've got my PhDs, I've been in the business world, and I've been in the government for many, many, many years. If you can't communicate effectively your knowledge in the manner in which it's expected, the knowledge you have ends up being irrelevant. Let me say that again. If you can't communicate your knowledge effectively in a manner in which it is expected, such as APA formatting, your knowledge becomes irrelevant. It doesn't appear that you have the knowledge, you're not going to appear credible, and you're not going to be taken seriously if you can't communicate in the form that's expected. So APA formatting is something that's easy to learn. There's a lot of references and sources that we provide for you. So let's just make it a point to master it, and you'll be so glad you did. You'll be so proud of your work. Every time you submit a paper, look at it and see if you would be proud to submit that to the owner of any organization. I hope this helps. Happy writing. I hope that was helpful. I've been correcting and giving advice for many, many years and helping people with APA formatting. Now, the next assignment for this week is your mastery journal. The journal is something you will be doing from now all the way through month 12 of your program. You will be adding to it every week and every month through every course. So make it yours. Make it mean something. Remember the top 20 that Robert Greene talks about? Your why. Discover your why. Discover your why by using your mastery journal. Why you're doing what you're doing. What is your mastery journal? Your mastery journal will be a running portfolio of your work and reflections throughout your entire program. Your journal assignments will be part of this course and future courses. So make sure you're posting your work consistently and using APA-style text citations in your captions and narrative. Your journal will intertwine. Let me go back to it. I broke my hand, so I'm using my left hand trying to use the mouse. It's not working very well. Your journal will intertwine all of your assignments that you're proud of and inspirational posts over the course of your entire program starting right now. Inspirational posts may include photos, quotes, text, or other items that you come across that inspires you as you continue your journey. Again, make it about your why. What you may see through the journey when you look back is you changed your why several times. And that's okay too, but you'll be able to see that. So the instructions for the journey is to set up your mastery journal on WordPress using the theme 2015. What we mean is 2015, 2015. That's the theme we want everyone to use. The 2015 theme is a requirement. You can change the theme anytime after graduation, but right now we want everyone to use the 2015 theme. When you add the theme, you're going to be adding your custom pages. There's instructions about how to add the custom pages, add the site title. What's important is to create your, quote, About Me page. On the About Me page, provide a few sentences about who you are and your points of view. Don't make it staunch and tight. This is you. This is for you, who you are. Let people discover who you are. You might even discover something interesting. Include link to other elements of your personal or professional brand. This could include Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn. Only include links to those that you are comfortable having those outside your circle visit. Create an intention statement page. On the intention statement page, post a 300-word statement that outlines your intention for your mastery journey over the next 12 months. This intention statement should include what you hope to learn and achieve throughout your mastery journey. Then under menus, click on primary and add the following. Then click publish and add your first blog post. This was where it gets interesting. Write your inspirational post. Post something that you have found inspiring in the past. This is for this week. Or something that you have recently found. This can be a quote, image, photo, or other item. Provide a brief rationale that expresses how you found inspiration in the piece. Do not forget to provide the APA reference. Now, you may add other customizations as you want to your theme, but it's not required. I went ahead and started one myself because it sounded interesting. Let me go to it right here. I was going to share with you. Maybe you can give me some feedback and send me a message. This is, since I'm getting ready to start Mobile Game Designer Mastery, I went ahead and took my own instructions for that assignment and walked through it and created my WordPress blog. And as you can see here, I created a creative picture of myself with gaming images behind it and my journey to mobile game designer, an inspirational statement for me. And over here on the side, I added some assets. Again, that's the picture and the picture of the degree program from Full Sail, countdown to graduation. These are widgets available in WordPress for free that you can add on yours. And a calendar. So you can click on any day and see what the posts are and connect down here. If you hit connect, you can reach right out to me. So this was my first stab at following the instructions that you're following this week. I don't feel like we should ask you to do something that we're not doing too. And this was my first page. I just haven't put a first blog post because I just did this. So I wanted to share that with you so that you can see it's not just you doing it. It can be done. So let's look at the instructions that they give us really quickly for doing that. It really was easy. I followed the instructions that Heather Torres put in this little short video right here. It's a 1 minute and 44-second video, how to create a mastery journal. Anytime you see something like right here that I'm pointing to, 01, colon, and then number, that's how long the video lasts. Most of you probably know that, but I just wanted to share that in case you didn't. In this instance, the video lasts 1 minute and 44 seconds. You ready? Let's check it out. She didn't narrate it. She's going through the steps and showing you what they are. And I think this is available to everyone in the course. If not, again, reach out to me, or when this video is archived later this evening, you'll be able to reach back and get it. And it's showing you how to add the about me, the primary, the whole thing. So it's a really good video. It really is as simple as she's showing it. And I just wanted you to see that she's just going through, highlighting step by step by step in 1 minute of how to do that. So that video is out there. It's available for you. So let's make sure you get to use that. Now, the deliverables for that particular assignment due Sunday is enter your Mastery Journal URL, your web link, into the journal tracking form. This link should be available in your online course, your FSO. Put that link from your website that you just created into this tracking form and answer all of the questions. Please note, this tracking form is not used for grading. It's just used for tracking your blog throughout the entire program, because you'll be making entries every course, and we can go back as instructors and look and see what's been going on. Post your WordPress link to FSO. Which is the link? Which is the correct link? It's available on your edit screen. It should look similar to the example below. Here's the example. Since you're not buying a custom domain, it will still have WordPress.com or blog in it. So it should say Mastery Journal 1, WordPress.com, and it'll have your name in it. Mine says VickiBillman.wordpress.com. So make sure that you give us that link. The assignment is a research paper. After you've read the textbook and the emotional pitfalls that we talked about and the strategies that I went over, the 20 strategies, you will identify someone in your area of mastery that inspires you. Whatever your degree program is, whether it's creative writing or media design or business intelligence or gaming, identify someone in that area that inspires you. And you're going to write a paper to include an introduction, body, and conclusion. The introductory paragraph, use this paragraph to provide researched facts on the person that you chose. The thesis statement should provide a summary of what your paper will discuss. Discuss the relation of the person to the creative task, creative strategies, and creative breakthrough. That's in your readings. You will introduce the idea of how the individual faced some emotional pitfall along their journey, as well as the comparison between your person and one of the 9 people in the reading. When I see about the emotional pitfalls along their journey, what comes to mind for me is Steve Jobs for Apple. When you follow his history and watch the documentaries on it, he faced several tremendous, notable emotional pitfalls along the journey, and how he handled them and what he did next determined the whole entire outcome of Apple. So that was a tremendous thing for me when I did that as an assignment to understand what emotional pitfalls are. In the body of the paper, cover the following topics in 3 to 5 pages. Relate your person's path to the creative task, strategies, and breakthrough that is discussed in the reading. Identify and analyze the emotional pitfall that the person experienced and how did it impact their overall journey to mastery. Provide a cross-analysis between your person and one of the 9 people who were profiled in the strategies in the reading. Now, what that means is you'll have the headings I was talking about. You'll have the cover page, the running head, the introduction, and then you'll have headings that are like the person's name. And then under that is another heading, creative task, creative strategies, creative breakthrough. Then you'll have a heading for emotional pitfall, and then a cross-comparative analysis heading. So you don't have to get really complicated. Just use the headings, and what that does is it breaks up the writing so that the audience reading it understands what it is you're doing and when they want to go back and look at a particular point. In the conclusion, pull together your final thoughts by highlighting the points that you highlighted in your paper. You don't repeat the whole thing. You'll just summarize it. Consider the following. How did the journey of your selected person lead them to their level of mastery? Required research, 4 minimum references. 1 resource is the mastery book. 2 resources must be from the full cell library, which is EBSCOhost. Label them on the reference page correctly and use in-text citations, and 1 outside source. This is a minimum. APA formatting is required for all research, and there's a link, and we give APA formatting resources in the courses and in the library, and we have Project APA and Writing Tutoring Center, so there's a lot of things available. Again, title your attachments correctly, and then carefully and thoroughly proof your paper. Use tools that are available to you, like spelling and grammar check in Word to assist you. Read through the paper several times. Try to put a day between your first proof, final draft, and final proof, so that you're not seeing what you expect to see and you're actually seeing it for what it is. Because at the graduate level, your writing should be primarily composed of synthesis, analysis, and evaluation. And only use quotes very sparingly when it's profound. And then you have to use your Turnitin. For your Turnitin report, your paper should not exceed the 20% range. What does that mean? When you put it through Turnitin, it's going to run all of the web and all of the internet and all the papers ever published, and it's going to say what percentage of your writing matched that. And we're trying to keep that below 20%. The formatting, again, APA, cover page, running head, Times New Roman, double spaced, 1-inch margins, 3 to 5 pages, separate APA reference page in alphabetical order. Then the deliverables are upload your final paper to Turnitin first, prior to the deadline. If you don't put it in to Turnitin, that will result in a 0, and I hate to do that. I hate to even say it. We're all adults in a graduate program, and I don't see that happening. When you sign in to Turnitin, and I'm going to show you how to get to it in a moment, every class has its class ID. This one right here happens to be for my particular section, so don't write that one down. But every particular section has its own ID and enrollment key. After you do that, upload your final paper into the FSO, and then when you attach your paper, also attach the paper that comes back from Turnitin called the originality report. Both documents need to be submitted. Now, when you go to Turnitin, that's what happens, okay? You either create an account or log in, depending on whether you have one or not, and then it's going to ask you for those codes that I gave you, okay? It's going to ask you for the class ID, and it's going to ask you for the password or whatever I have down here. Let me look again. But I wanted you to be able to have the link there to do that. It's going to ask you for the class ID and the enrollment key. And then again, upload your APA formatted paper and the Turnitin originality report. And I would start early on this, at least to make sure that you are familiar with navigating around the Turnitin site, so that Sunday night at 11:58, you realize you're not sure how to get into Turnitin. So let's not wait till the last minute and find ourselves in that position, because that's embarrassing. Now, I want to close by saying, what is mastery? This is in Dr. Vicky's own opinion. Mastery is the ability to blend your skills and knowledge in a specific area of practice, whether it be a profession, trade, athletics, science, or the arts. Now, you can master many things over a lifetime for many different reasons. Mastery is practice, not knowledge alone. What does that mean? Knowledge of something does not make you a master. You have to be able to put that into practice. That's why everything we try to do at Full Sail is for real world application, because that's putting the knowledge into practice. Mastery of any field takes instruction, practice, stamina, setbacks, and intentionality. Okay, and then I put the reference down here. So, does anybody have any questions? Hello?
Hi, I had a quick question for the Turnitin.
Uh-huh.
Um, I know when I've used it in the past, depending on how the teacher has it set up, you can only uh, run it through the Turnitin check so many times. Is that turned on for these courses, or is it?
Full Sail has it set up what I've been told for at 3 times, but I've never had anyone come back and said they had a problem with more than that.
Okay, I just wanted to check
Oh,
because I know
absolutely.
sometimes
And
it's
what you
been
need to do
one time.
also is if you are working on it, which I do that too, so I know that I need to go back and change things. If you need to put it through again, just contact your instructor. We're always available. The best thing I would suggest you do is email them and then text them that you sent them an email so that they can get to it and tell them that you'd like for them to open it up again because you're still working on it. They'll have no problem with that.
Awesome, thank you.
Sure. Does
I
anybody
have
else
a,
have any questions?
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
Can you hear me? First, on the actual on the list of assignments for week 2, there's a duplicate of 2.2. At least in my list of classes, there is. Not on your presentation, but on
Class. Hang on, let's pull
yes.
that. Let's look
I
at it.
have
On week 2?
yes.
No, not on mine. I have 2-1, 2-2, 2-3, and 2-4. So it must just been a
I'm
glitch
in
in
a
yours.
I'm going through a different, like, I have a different instructor, so that's
Right. There's
probably, I
only
could send
6
you a
of us.
screenshot, but it's
Yeah,
I
I
could
would
send you a
shoot them an email,
screenshot. It's
let them know
definitely
that.
there.
Tell them you're not trying to be critical, but
Yeah. And let's see. My other question: Who is our mastery journal for? I'm not quite understanding that assignment. Is it something that we're just going to be sharing with everybody? Like it's you know what I mean? Like
not sure.
is it something separate from our portfolio?
Your mastery
I
journal will end up being it's for dual purposes. For most of the programs, again, I'm in business intelligence, so I can't speak for a lot of the others, but what it is, it's mainly for you. Your classmates won't be seeing it. It's mainly for you to track your goals. You will be setting your goals for each course in the next week or two. During this program, you're going to be pulling out all of the information on your program and putting that into your mastery blog and setting your goals. And then at the end of every course, you'll make another post as to where the course fell short or met the goals that you set for your learning. And in most of the courses, we also have you upload some of the assignments that you did that you felt particularly proud of. But in some of the real creative programs, you may have a separate portfolio that you use to submit to employers. But what you will end up doing is taking some of the same information out of this and using it. If you play your cards right, that's what I would suggest. Put your favorite things in here, and then if you have to have a separate portfolio, duplicate it.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Anybody else? Well, all right. This is, again, Dr. Vicky. I really enjoy being part of your mastery journey, and I really like being on the very front end. This is my first time teaching the mastery. I've normally been teaching month 8 and 10 in my program, and I've been asking to teach this because I would like to be able to meet all of you on the very first class you have because I find that exciting. So if you have any questions, we're all here for you. We're only concerned about your success and making you the best you can be. Reach out to your instructor, reach out to me, get your questions answered. When I post the archive of this, I'm going to also post a PDF of my presentation so you can go through and get the links to some of the other things. So if you have any questions about anything that I did, please reach back out to me. I am V Billman, V as in Vicky, Billman at fullsail.com. And I wish you the best of luck on your journey and hope to see you in future classes. So everyone have a great evening.
Vicky,
Yes,
can I ask you one
sure.
last question before you go? With the research paper, two of the references have to come from EBSCOhost. How
Yes.
does that work? So let's say I want to write my paper about somebody and there's nothing written about them that's in EBSCOhost.
I would make a
Do I have
note, not on your actual paper, but in the place where you can write notes in your assignment in the FSO and say that there was nothing available on EBSCOhost as a reason you didn't meet that requirement.
So I don't necessarily have to change who
No,
I'm writing a
no. A
paper
lot of
about.
people that I research is not in EBSCOhost, and then I just turn around and make a note, no information available on EBSCOhost, therefore I use something else.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Absolutely. Anybody else? I'm not seeing a whole lot of my students on here. Either that means my instructions are really good, or they just didn't want to be bothered with me. Berkeley's in here, though. I see that. Thought Noah was in here. Noah is in here. Okay, well, if you don't have any more questions, I'm going to sign off so I can load this video up for everybody. And again, if you think of anything later, you can always reach out to me. I'm only concerned for your success. So everyone have a great evening.